Hey, y'all, Zach McDonald, your real estate agent with Real Property Associates, and this is my Snohomish County real estate market update for June 2025. Well, Snohomish County, you're faring a little bit better or a little bit more stable than the King County housing market at this point. But a lot of the signs of slowing down that we've been talking about over the past few months are already evident and starting to take place in Snohomish County. Now, we've been in an interesting housing market over the past couple of years. We've had the housing prices continuing to climb as the demand and supply has really been similar. You would have expected maybe more listings over the past few years, but the mortgage rates, and right now they're 6.87 on Mortgage News Daily's survey. These higher rates, 6s, 7s, and they were higher, have really kept the amount of sellers down too. Less people wanting to sell because they have great rates and they don't want to trade it for something lesser. And at this point, we're starting to see a shift. People have adjusted. They know that if they want to make a move, they can't stay here forever, or maybe they could, but they don't want to. They're trading it in. They're getting a different house. They're getting rid of that other house. Even if it has a great rate, it's just time. There's acceptance. We don't know when the rates are coming down. They will eventually, most likely, if we look at trends historically, but we don't know. People are starting to trade in those rates for something different, more out of a quality of life choice, right, than a financial choice. Now, if we look at the new listings, we're seeing more new listings. We're seeing 17% more new listings than last year, 1,371. We also are seeing a significant amount more than last month, 998, right, which is normal. May is a prime time for new listings. The pending sales are also up, which is encouraging. You want to see more pending sales as the amount of new listings comes in, but they're not keeping up with the amount of new listings. So 13.9% more than last year in the pending category and about 100 more than last month. So that's good, right? As the inventory is increasing. The days on markets remain stable at 18. This is going to change very soon. This is the beginning of it starting to go up, in my opinion. We're seeing the closed sales numbers are actually down year over year, 5% down, up month over month, which is encouraging. But the increase in inventory is starting to show. And we have 2.1 months of supply. This is the beginning of it starting to slow down. Once you get into the 3 months, King County's there. Once you get into the 3 months, you get into the 4 months. This is a more balanced market, so we're still not there. We're still seeing over asking price, 0.8% on average, but that is a lot less than the 2.5% over asking price last year, and even less than last month, 1.4% over asking price, which is why we're seeing the prices start to stabilize. Now they are up month over month, 839, 975 versus 790. So the median's up. The average is also up, 925, 129 versus the 913, 904. So again, marginally up a little bit in May, but these are also closings that were pending in April, right? So we're seeing the changes. We're seeing the supply numbers increase. When we get to June, my hunch is that we're going to see these things going backwards. In fact, we have 47.4 more houses on the market than we did at the same time last year. And we also have almost that many more from last month. So the inventory is quickly building. We went up more than half a month of supply in 1 month. And if this continues, we should see numbers similar to what King County has right now in June in Snohomish County. Now, every week I've been following along with the Market Watch stats. So if you aren't following along with the Seattle Housing Market Watch on a weekly basis, I would recommend that. We have weekly pending data that we look at in those updates. I don't do those on the weeks that I do the Snohomish County and King County separate monthly updates here. But even looking at the data from this last week, we're seeing that the amount of multiple offers is stabilizing, and they've been coming down over the past weeks. We've seen more contingencies included in the contracts. Again, that trend is continuing. It's more stable this week than anything, but we have seen the trend of those things going down as the supply is continuing to build. So my thoughts for Snohomish County, we're just a little bit behind where King County is and where Seattle, Bellevue already are. I think we're going to continue to see the inventory building, more houses coming on the market. And I think that we're going to start to see longer days on market. We're going to start to see less buyer activity. And that's a normal seasonal thing with the summer coming up, but it's also a little bit of a market adjustment as well, a little bit earlier than we've seen in the previous few years. Is there any cause for panic for people that own a home and want to sell in Snohomish County? No, there is not. But I think the reality is that you're probably not going to be getting some of the same perks and benefits that some of your neighbors have gotten over the past, even the last year, few months. The housing market is slowing down. We're seeing houses starting to sell below asking price more regularly. We're seeing less multiple offer situations. We're seeing prices are going to start to come down, not come down in any type of significant way, but at least seasonally adjust. And we're going to start to see buyers having a little bit more ability to include those contingencies they want and potentially negotiate on the prices. But that's good news for buyers, right? You want to have a balanced market where everything's not just driven by market factors. You want to have negotiations that are driven by the needs and desires of the buyers and the sellers, and not just, hey, this is what the market says. Sorry, this is what you got to do. And that's tough for sellers when they're on the other side of that, where they have zero leverage. And it's tough for buyers when they have been in that zero leverage phase for a long time. So I'm encouraged by where the market's heading. I think it's going to be better for buyers and sellers here over the coming months. If you have questions about buying or selling in Snohomish County, or even just talking about the housing market, I'd love to connect with you about those questions. And if there's any way I can bring value to your situation, whether you're buying or thinking about selling real estate here in Snohomish County, I'd love to be a resource for you.